Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Libra energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Libra energy. Some people harness a more worldly focused Libra energy, and some people are downright shadowy. So whether you're a Libra sun sign or not, doesn't really matter. We all harness Libra energy, and we all tap into it. So listen to your intuition about where you are in the story and how you're harnessing your Libra energy versus with your intuition how other people are harnessing their Libra energy. You know, it all has to do with what we think is just and fair in the world. Do we have hope and faith and belief in love? Do we believe we should be just and fair in a relationship? Some people don't. Some people think it's just and fair maybe to make their life more about money and materialism or indulgence or themselves. And they want to find people who view life that same way. You know, we all like to hang out with people who are on the same page as us. And some of those people might want to be in relationships with other people who are motivated and inspired by those same things too, who maybe don't listen to their intuition, maybe don't want to do love, but will stay in the workplace or the relationship just because it pays enough or something, you know? And then some people are shadowy where they're living more from their mind than their heart, and they try to emotionally manipulate people to get them to do what they want in a relationship. So the reason for the reading is the Page of Swords, which is kind of like, do we align with our more inner child, hopeful, believing nature? Or do we align with our more worldly, immature nature? What do we defend? How do we want to move forward in life? Some people like to wear a false mask. They want to operate more from their ego and juggle people where they don't really invest emotionally in people. It's kind of trying to create an illusion that I'm a loving family person and present themselves as being that to the world, and hoping the people they get in relationship will just juggle the fact that they wear this false mask, that they're really not someone who operates from a foundation of love. And other people have learned lessons in life, and they really take action from a place of love and maintain balance within themselves. So let's go see what we got here. We start out with the Knight of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Ace of Swords. And the reason they came out is because of the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles has to do with how we harness our Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn is represented by the Devil. High vibe Capricorn is people who put in work and effort to free themselves from their more shadowy, worldly nature, you know, of pride, ego, immaturity, indulgence, selfishness, self-centeredness, envy, jealousy, petty, greed, manipulative, you know. We all grow up in the world. We all have our worldly nature and our base nature. You know, we can be all of those things. But high vibe people in their Virgo energy, they go within to gain insight and understanding about their own worldly nature. That basically, if I don't, you know, kind of detach in the Death card from my more worldly nature and aspire to a higher truth and justice in life, you know, my more shadowy, self-involved, self-interested nature is going to run my life. And then I might have people who don't want to be in a relationship with me because I am aligned with my more me nature or selfish nature. And, you know, the Four of Pentacles, if we're willing to offer to see the truth and invest in the truth, that it is about being just and fair, that if I want to be in a just and fair and balanced and loving relationship, I should be willing to see the truth that I have some lessons to learn. And there's things that we need to let go of. And we need to take the lessons that we've learned to add that to our foundation so that we can move forward in life and let go of some of those old ways of being that in the Death card need to go. You know, it's just like in our life, we're age 15, it's perfect to be 15 years old, but then when we're going to become more like an 18-year-old, we have to let go of some of those more immature ways of being, and we need to face our fears and see the truth that it's time for us to grow up and mature. And we add, some of the lessons that we've learned in life to be bold and brave, to move forward in life and become like an 18-year-old. And then we do the same thing where we're going to become more like a 21-year-old and more like a 25-year-old. It kind of reminds me of that Bible verse that when I was a child, I thought like a child, I spoke like a child. When I grew up, I basically put away some of my more childish ways of being. To think that we can be selfish and greedy and make an offer to get in a relationship with people, but we aren't willing to grow and mature ourselves. We have these old ways of being that we refuse to let go of. It's probably going to cause a problem in a relationship. Some people are not letting go of something in the past, even though it ended. Maybe because someone had a different idea, wanted to move in a different direction, didn't feel like this was the right relationship for them. But some people refuse to put an end to that idea. No, I refuse to accept the truth. I want to put an end to the truth. I still want to invest in those people or those ways of being. I don't want to detach from that. Sometimes there's some people who want to keep trying to get in a relationship with people who remind them of their past because they don't want to live life differently. It would require them to step outside their comfort zone. And they keep wanting to be in relationships with other people who they think might have that same way of viewing life. But that might not be the truth. The truth sets us free. But some people don't want to see the truth. It's like, if I've determined you have the same viewpoint as me, you and me would be perfect in a relationship, but those people aren't in a relationship with them, we got to be willing to face the truth that maybe they didn't view life the way that you did. Maybe they weren't motivated and inspired by the same things you were. But some people refuse to see the truth. There's other people right now that are holding back from some people in their life who did see the truth. And that's why those people held back from them. And they're trying to move forward in something new to try to stop the truth from coming out. Some people were kind of selfish and greedy or prideful or materialistic. And that's why some people left a relationship with them. But they don't want other people to know that's why those people left the relationship with them. So they're getting in a new relationship, trying to get into a new relationship because they're unwilling to see the truth. They don't want other people to see the truth. And they think, in their pride and ego, because we either see the truth or in our pride and ego and we take action in truth, or in our pride and ego, we could think, I have a better idea. I think I can use these things of the world to put an end to the truth and the people who are telling the truth. I don't want to speak the truth. I don't want to take action in truth. I'm going to maybe go try to make an offer to someone else who might have experienced an ending, who might be fearful of having a new beginning, and I'm going to go get in a relationship with them. That way it looks like, I've moved on. I am this loving, just, fair person in the world. Look, I got in a new relationship. Look, I got someone else to hold on to me and be in a relationship with me. I must be just and fair and loving, right? And some people who did go get in a relationship with someone who they was on the same page with them in a shadowy way, those people could have ended a relationship, or they even could have ended the relationship with them. Because for some of them, in shadowy energy, it's just about creating an illusion, trying to confuse people about the truth. Some people really did want to go be in a relationship with someone who they think lives life like the way they do. But because they were afraid people would see the truth, that the reason they were doing that could have been more out of kind of shadowy Capricorn energy. I got in that relationship. I wanted to get in that relationship more for money or materialism or status or image. Well, I don't want people to know the truth. And if they started to think people saw the truth, then they could have ended a relationship with that person because they didn't want people to view them as selfish or materialistic. Well, let's continue on with those people. So then we have the Six of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, the Three of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. For some people, because either the person they wanted to be in a relationship with quit being in a relationship with them, or because they felt they needed to put an end to that relationship because they didn't want people to view them as selfish, is causing them a lot of inner conflict in the Five of Wands. Because the truth is, they'd really maybe like to be in a relationship with that person. But if it's more important to them for people not to view them as selfish or greedy or materialistic, even though they might be, they're going to detach from that person. And they're going to try to create another illusion in the Seven of Cups. And the Magician trying to create another illusion by maybe getting in a relationship with someone else. Someone who maybe it'll be more confusing to see the truth that maybe they're getting in a relationship with that person for money or materialism or status or image. But if they maybe had gotten in the other relationship, it definitely would have seemed like you're just doing that because of money and materialism. With the new person, it's like, oh, well, they quit going out with that person. So I don't think it was because of money and materialism. And now they're getting in a relationship with someone else. And then we have the Seven of Wands, the Six of Swords, the Queen of Wands, because of the Page of Swords. But the thing is, the truth is, they might really want to be in a relationship with this person back here. And it doesn't matter if that person, if the person they want to be in a relationship with is high vibe or low vibe, they themselves, the people I'm talking about right now, harness some shadowy Libra energy. And they don't want to move forward with people who might be more in their Aquarius and Leo energy and their Page of Swords, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini energy. They don't really want to move forward if the next person they went and got in a relationship with is maybe more, you know, on the loving side. Looks at life from a higher perspective, is a little bit more intuitive and creative and kind of stands in their inner child nature. It's like, but that's not the type of people I want to move forward with. I'm defensive to moving forward with those people because I really want to repeat this pattern of the past. I have this certain way of viewing life, and why do people want to keep living their life a certain way? Because they don't like stepping out of their comfort zone and looking at life differently. And they want to keep repeating this old pattern. They don't want to move forward. That's confusing. And from the Seven of Cups to the Three of Cups, they'd have to let go of someone that they feel they could maybe have this type of life with, which the Knight of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Truth, and the Four of Pentacles, or the Ace of Swords, which is like an idea, they might be people who, you know, they're just more aligned with their worldly nature. That's what drives them, motivates them. They don't want to move forward like in truth and love and look at life from a higher perspective. And the person they might be in a relationship with right now is that type of person. And it's like, and I don't want to be in a relationship with people like that, because then I do have to invest in like getting more balanced within myself. And if people are more tipped into their more worldly way of living life, and that's how they want to live their life, you know, it causes them a lot of inner conflict, because that's not really how they want to live their life. They want to live their life like this. And their long-term goal could be, in the Knight of Pentacles, you know, I want to look like I'm king of the world, male or female. I want to be in a relationship with someone who is also in the Five of Wands, Leo energy, competitive in the world, who also maybe has inner conflict about listening to their intuition and looking at life from a higher perspective and letting their inner child nature out to play in the world. You get hurt doing that. And some people, instead of being more open and authentic and loving in the world, they operate from a more emotionally defensive way of being. I don't want to get hurt. I don't let my more bold, brave, high vibe Leo of the Queen of Wands is really being authentically yourself in the world. I've overcome my fears and my insecurities. I've offered love and compassion and forgiveness to them to free myself from the past and my own fears and my own insecurities to live my life more authentically. And high vibe people have realized that, it's not as scary as I thought. All I have to do is be authentic, offer love, and be truthful, be honest, maintain balance so you're not operating out of pride and ego and being petty and envious and jealous, and see in the world who is receptive to that. And there's definitely going to be a lot of people who aren't receptive to that because that's not how they live their life, and they're going to reject people who are like that. But people who it's like, you know what, you're going to be like that irregardless of how I live my life because you have free will of how to live your life. Well, I have free will how to live my life, and I'm going to go find the people who stand up for themselves, who move forward in truth and love, who look at life from a higher perspective, and decide I'm going to go live my life and be free to live my life because you're going to be however you're going to be, just like everyone else in the world who has free will. I don't control any of you. So I'm going to go live my life and speak my truth. And whoever wants to move forward with me in truth and love and being warm and open and receptive and loving, then I'll work with those people. But some people don't want to do that because they'd have to come out from behind their ego protecting them, and they'd really have to shine their light in the world, like be authentically themselves in the world, which puts them at risk of being hurt. And like being vulnerable. It's like, but you're going to face people rejecting you and hurting you no matter what. So why not be free to not take it personally? I accept I don't control other people. People are going to decide to do what they want to do based on where they're at. But, the whole thing is in shadowy energy is our judgment can be clouded by our fear, by our insecurity. Some people, Libra energy is air sign energy of the mind. Sometimes people think, well, I don't have to be authentic and vulnerable. I can use my mind to try to manipulate people into liking me or being in a relationship with me. And then when I'm in a relationship, I can try to confuse them and use my emotions manipulatively and never show that I have this inner conflict about being authentically myself in a relationship and that I'm really kind of like a false person in the world is kind of what it comes across, And you kind of end up feeling like you're in a relationship with either a person who's not being authentically themselves and vulnerable in a relationship, and you're not getting an authentic relationship with someone, and it kind of feels like you're in a relationship with their cardboard cutout persona, or it feels like you're being authentic and vulnerable and loving, and you're willing to grow and mature and oops, got an alarm. Get out of your ego to be vulnerable, and they're not. And so then it's kind of like they're indulging in a relationship, getting the benefits of being in a relationship with someone who's authentic and warm and loving and nurturing and balanced, and they're in their defensive or shadowy, maybe all about me energy, and it's good for their ego and their image. And that can be why, it's so, there's so many reasons why someone would want to get in a relationship without really being authentic and vulnerable. And I think it kind of boils down to kind of being selfish and wanting all those things without really being those things. So I think the people that are in shadowy energy don't want to align with the truth. I do not think I have to grow and mature myself. I don't think I have to deal with my own inner conflict. I don't think I have to deal with my own emotional confusion or fear that I have about working together with people in love where I would have to emotionally mature myself. Some people are selfish and greedy, and it's like, and anybody can have any illusion that they want to have about what it means to be in a relationship. If that's their idea of the dream relationship, they can have that idea. We can all live in fantasy land if we want. Some people do. And some people think, no, I'm not going to do the truth. But I want to look like I have all the things that other people have in the world. I'm going to try to go invest in a victory with someone else who might have some inner conflict, who might feel left out in the cold, who might be emotionally confused, who would like to work together with someone and maybe get in a relationship or a marriage, is what the Queen of Pentacles can talk about, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is only married through the deck. But the same type of thing happens within workplaces. I don't want to grow up and mature myself. I'm bossy. I'm controlling. I'm immature. I'm competitive. Other people have left this place of employment. But I think there's other people who want this job, who I bet will come and work with me. And maybe if I pay them enough or whatever, they'll keep staying in this job, even though they might find out that it's not what I presented it as, because they presented it as being in Libra energy. Oh, we're very just and fair here. Oh, we try to encourage our employees to believe in themselves, and, we're willing to change and grow, and, we're all about truth and, not operating from ego and all that stuff. And then you get the job and you find out that's not the truth at all. They just presented themselves as harnessing high vibe Libra energy, and they're tipped out of balance. But they're hoping once they get you in the job or the friendship or the relationship or the organization, whatever it happens to be, that then they go back to, first they create the illusion that they're willing to move forward with you in this nurturing way. And then they become defensive to really, the Six of Swords is Aquarius energy. Then they're defensive to really bringing the dream into reality, because that would require them to be more authentic, be more aligned with their hopeful, believing nature. And they're kind of aligned with their more fearful or insecure or emotionally manipulative, self-centered, selfish, I need to control everything nature. And then people kind of get defensive that, this doesn't seem to be what you said it was going to be. I don't think my dream is going to come into reality. And so then the people become defensive to investing in these people who presented themselves as harnessing high vibe Cancer energy, like they're a loving family person, and they're not. And then the people begin to wonder, maybe I should pick up my investment in this and get balanced within myself and end this with the World card. And so then some of you have done that. Other people are just doing that, where they're going within. They're kind of holding back from those people to get clear about what their truth is. Is this the truth? Are these people loving and encouraging and supportive, or are they not? Are they kind of more about ego and image and kind of selfish and greedy and bossy and controlling and immature, and they just wear a false mask? And if anybody's in that situation right now, probably the people in their life really don't want them to leave, because they want to create this illusion of how wonderful everything is. If I have another employee leave, my boss is going to wonder what's wrong with me that I can't keep an employee here, and I don't want to grow and change, so I might get fired. And if it's a relationship, I don't want those people to leave, because if they are nurturing, loving people, well, I like being in a relationship with them, or they might have money and status and image, and I want to be a partner with them for those reasons, because I'm competitive in the world, and it's good for my ego and my image. So right now, some people in the world could have, because we live in a world of duality and we have free will, some people are battling within themselves. They know that there's different people they could align with in the world if they were to get out of these jobs and relationships with people. Because if negative energy is creating a negative environment, that means loving energy is creating a loving environment. And some people are struggling right now because, for one, they might have to speak their truth, that something they've been invested in, that they seem victorious and successful, or that they got themselves involved in, has really made them feel left out and cold and emotionally confused, and they kind of feel like they're being manipulated. Or they'd have to admit that, because I was in my ego and I felt left out in the cold and I was emotionally confused, I could have gotten involved with someone out of ego. And now I'm kind of seeing the truth that, this isn't my truth. And we all make mistakes. We can all get in situations in life that aren't really aligned with our truth, but because, we had to learn to love and believe in ourselves, and maybe didn't believe in our own dreams or think we could manifest our dreams into reality, or a different relationship ended and we felt left out in the cold and we wanted to feel better, and instead of listening to our intuition, we can kind of grab the steering wheel and say, I know this will make me feel better. And then we kind of get ourselves involved in something that causes us a lot of inner conflict. And if we're willing to speak our truth, we align with our more looking at life from a higher perspective, getting out of our ego about it. We're fallible human beings who make mistakes, that I've got to speak my truth. I can't keep moving forward, living my life in a way that isn't aligned with my truth. I can't keep staying in this friendship or this romantic relationship where I don't feel it's aligned with my truth. And some of those people, just like some of you already did, are going to speak their truth. And they're going to move away from their more egoic nature to be more bold and brave emotionally, to invest in loving themselves, to get balanced within themselves. When we quit aligning with our own fears, insecurities, pride, ego, codependent nature, and we start to invest in going within to figure out, why would I keep holding on to this job or this relationship? Do I not believe that I deserve just and fair and loving relationships? Am I codependent? Am I fearful? Am I afraid? And then we take some inspired action to deal with our inner conflict, and take some inspired action to deal with, have I been operating more from my worldly nature? Was I caught up in illusion? Did someone present themselves as loving and nurturing, but my intuition is telling me that's not the truth? We can deal with people in the world and they wear a really good false mask. Would I feel like I'm missing an emotional opportunity if I stay in this relationship because I didn't speak my truth and I wasn't bold and brave and confident? If I stay in this from the 7 down to the 3 of cups, the 4 of cups, am I going to miss an opportunity in love if I keep staying in this situation and I don't stand up for myself and speak my truth? Did I get in this relationship because I felt like someone I had wanted to hold on to, but they ended the relationship with me, and I got in this relationship because I felt like I'd missed an opportunity in love, and I found someone who was loving and who seemed maybe loving and nurturing and supportive, which they could have, But the whole thing is what are the intentions of people in the relationship? Is it money and competitiveness, selfishness, greed, just wanting to be in a relationship for Oh, a sense of stability and security, to look like you have it all, like you're shining bright, like you're the winner. We don't want to get in relationships for those reasons. We want to get in a relationship because it's really aligned with our truth, and the people motivate us and inspire us to be all that we can be. Sometimes there's some people who get in relationships with people who are like that, and then they become defensive to those people because they're not motivated and inspired to become all that they can be. I'm happy living my life like this. I don't care if I feel left out in the cold. I don't care if I have inner conflict. I don't care if I'm emotionally confused. If I'm in a relationship with someone, that's really all I need. It helps calm my inner conflict. And I don't want to look at life from a higher perspective. I don't want to heal. High vibe Knight of Pentacles in Virgo would be putting in the work and effort to figure out, why am I afraid of being all I can be in the world? Why am I afraid of listening to my intuition? Why am I afraid of love? Why am I so afraid of being hurt? Why do I maybe align with focusing more on the world than connecting in with my emotions and intuition? Why am I willing to stay in a relationship even if I think someone's emotionally manipulating me? Is it because they have money and status and image? And I don't know if I would have those things if I were to believe in myself. If I get in the job or the career field or in the relationships with the people who really do motivate and inspire me, or that I really enjoy, what if that doesn't have the status and the image, and this job or this relationship offers me all of those things? Queen of Pentacles would be someone who has a lot of stability and security, but so it's, again, what are we going to align with within ourselves? Are we going to align with our more worldly nature, operating more with the world, kind of creating the illusion that we're aligned with our loving nature in order to get people in a relationship with us, but that's really not the truth? We're really more motivated by money and materialism and status and image. Are we defensive to believing there's maybe more to this world than just what the world says? Is there more to life than having the things or indulging in the things? Are we willing to listen to our intuition? Are we willing to take action from love and balance and being more balanced in a relationship? Some people are kind of prideful and egotistical and selfish and greedy, and they have this illusion that I can get in a relationship with people. I can live more from my mind than my heart. I don't have to emotionally invest in them, really. I'll just create the illusion that I love them. I'll have sex with them. But it's really only if it's good for my ego and my image. If there's someone who makes me look like I have more status and image, or they've got money or whatever, I want to look like I'm a shining star. It's all about me and my ego. I don't give a damn about my inner child dreams. I align with my more immature nature. It's all about me. And if there's someone I can get in a relationship with me, even if I'm in a relationship with them, I feel out in the cold and I feel emotionally confused because I know I'm emotionally manipulating someone. Or I don't care if they feel out in the cold and emotionally confused because I'm manipulating them. For some people, they just don't give a damn. It's all about them. Let's jump to the people who harness high vibe Libra energy. Those people have dealt with people like this, and they weren't willing to give up their dreams. It's like, you made it sound like we were investing in love. In high vibe Capricorn energy and high vibe Cancer energy, that we would work together in a balanced way from a place of love, that we would both put in work and effort to free ourselves from our more immature, selfish, greedy, bossy, controlling ways of being, that we'd learn lessons in life, that we would move forward and we would grow and mature ourselves, and that we would hold ourselves accountable in the judgment karma card, and we'd listen to our intuition in this relationship, not our fears and our insecurities and our pride and our ego and our selfish nature. We let love and intuition guide our decisions. And some people listen to their intuition, and their intuition was saying, you need to move away from these people because these people are defensive to bringing that dream into reality. They want you to settle for this. It looks victorious. You're in a relationship, got a good paying job, compete with the world, even though you feel out in the cold, even though you feel emotionally confused and wonder if this person even loves you. And some people already moved away from those people. And those people in the Scorpio death card are transforming their life. That's what the Scorpio death card talks about. I used to be caught up in the illusion of the world. I used to have my fears and my insecurities and my self-limiting beliefs. And all it did was get me some worldly victory that made me feel left out in the cold and emotionally confused and manipulated. I've seen the truth. I need to take the lesson I learned from this experience to add that to my worldly view of life and detach from it and take the lesson I've learned to emotionally detach from that old way of being to give birth to something new based in truth and love. Now that I have learned some life lessons, I'm going to take those life lessons with me. I'm not as immature as I was before. I'm maybe not as codependent as I was before. I'm not as naive and gullible as I was before. I'm ready for the next phase of life. And the swords of the Ace of Swords could be a communication. You could have communicated with other people in the world. I left that behind. I've changed. The fives in tarot can talk about change. I took some creative inspired action to get out of my own ego. And I realized maybe some of the people I was working with weren't ever taking any action to get out of their ego, that they could have a lot of inner conflict. They could be very competitive in the world. They could be more driven and motivated and inspired by the world. And I was willing to detach from those people. I did go within to learn the lesson to add to the 1 pentacle to the 4 of pentacles to be a 5 of pentacles person. In my Taurus energy, I am putting in work and effort to deal with my own inner conflict about believing in myself and believing in my dreams. I want to work together and have new beginnings with people who harness high vibe Scorpio energy, people who want to be in deep, meaningful relationships where you work together from love because you've all learned lessons in life and are emotionally mature. Versus before, people could have been trying to move forward with people who harness shadowy or Scorpio energy, where they're kind of more emotionally shallow and superficial and maybe materialistic and don't really like to open up or freely give of themselves emotionally. And, for some of you, you could have been used to being in relationships with people like that because we all repeat a certain pattern of way of being in a relationship until we see the truth that we weren't seeing. It's like, oh my gosh, I keep trying to maybe invest and encourage people who aren't even on the same page as me, and to try to get people who have a different view of life. It'd be like trying to get loving people who like to be just and fair and kind and compassionate and encouraging and supportive to get them to become a completely different person than they are in a shadowy way. Well, when people show us the truth of who they are, oh, that's not how you live your life? We should see the truth and end a relationship with them. It's not like, no, I just heard a phrase today on, there's a YouTube channel called Raw Motivations by Ben Taylor, and he's a diagnosed narcissist. And he was saying something like, oh, don't try to be like a savior or God in people's life. That's God's job. You're supposed to be a leader in the world. And we show people by example, And you didn't hear about Jesus and the disciples in the Bible crying at everybody's feet. But why? Why don't you want to come with us? Why don't you choose love? Blah, blah, blah. They just offered people peace and love and justice and fairness. And when other people held back and didn't want to align with that truth, it's like, peace be with you. And they moved on. They went to go find the people in the world who were aligned with working cooperatively in love, who have grown up and matured themselves, who have changed, who believe in their dreams, who believe in love, who aren't operating from their more egoic nature. And I think some of you could have communicated to some people in the world, and you are, just as you live your life, that, that didn't work out because, I don't want to be in a relationship or stay in a job just because of ego or image or status or whatever. I want to if I'm going to spend 8 days in a work environment or be in a romantic relationship, I want it to be with people who stand up for truth, not people who are defensive in their ego, who are open to expanding their perception of themselves and how they view the world, to be more bold and brave and confident emotionally. People who have that hopeful, believing nature. And I think some of you high vibe people in the world, if there was some people you communicated with that it's like, I'm moving forward. Whoever wants to come with, you can come with if you have seen life from a higher perspective. I'm done taking people with me who maybe want to fight and compete with me. Because sometimes if you get in a relationship with some shadowy people, they don't love and believe in themselves, and they don't see life from a higher perspective, and they don't nurture their own inner child nature. They align with their more immature, competitive, prideful, envy, jealous, maybe aspect. And then they get in a relationship and you become one of the people they're competing with in the world. You're someone else they need to defeat to show that they're better than you. And relationships shouldn't be about treating your partner like they're the opponent you have to defeat. Why would you feel like you even need to do that if you're on the same page? You're both trying to heal and grow and mature yourself. But if you're doing that and they're not, then your light irritates their demons and it makes them see they might try to present themselves as this just and fair and pillar of society person, but they're maybe really not. That's just their public persona that they present, and they really have all this inner conflict and emotional confusion and lack mentality, but they don't ever do the work within themselves to see the truth that the only one who's really holding them back is themselves. People can feel left out in the cold. People could feel kicked to the curb, thrown under the bus, feel like people rejected them before, that they offered to invest in people before, and those people weren't willing to move forward with them. Well, some people can really get in their ego about that. Well, why didn't those people want to work with me? Why didn't those people accept me? It's like, well, the truth will set you free. We have to be willing to look at ourselves. How were we in that relationship? Were we being authentic and warm and loving and encouraging and supportive? Or were we in our ego and immature and defensive and emotionally shallow and superficial? Well, maybe people don't want to move forward in friendships and relationships with people who are being superficial and shallow. Maybe the people they were trying to be in a relationship with are more superficial and shallow. Maybe those people don't want to grow up and mature themselves. Maybe if they can emotionally manipulate you, then they don't want to be in a relationship with you. Some people are really competitive. If there's someone else who's got more money, more status, more image, that's who they're going to go be in a relationship with. I wouldn't take it personally, except for the only person you control is yourself. The only person who you can invest in growing and maturing is yourself. Are we willing to look at life from a higher perspective? Are we willing to say that not everyone wants to be in a relationship with me or a friend with me or employ me? Are we going to say that that means our dreams are over? Or do we believe that that must not be the people I was meant to work with? There must be more. And so long as I've done the work to see the truth of what I bring to the table, and I've learned to grow and mature myself and stand up for in truth and love, and I offer people truth and love, well, there's still going to be some people who don't like that. But, is that how we're living our life, or are we not living our life that way? So I think some people right now could have been defensive. They could have communicated to some people, hoping some people would move forward with them. If some people, the wands and the swords, can talk about communication, you're listening in the Queen of Wands. The queens talk about our emotional intuitive state. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. There's some people right now that have done this work to get out of those type of situations. And right now they're listening to their intuition. They did communicate their truth to some people in the world and said, I'd like you to come with me, whoever, friends, family, adult children, sibling, parents. Are you willing to look at life from a higher perspective? Because I'm not going to keep putting up and spend much time with some people in my life if they are still in their ego, competitive, trying to emotionally manipulate me. If I've already, in the Queen of Pentacles, offered you a lot of time, energy, and effort, the Knight of Pentacles moves very slow. The Four of Pentacles is very staying in one place. I have done all this work to try to love and encourage you to love and believe in yourself. Are you coming with or not? And then you could kind of look at like life-giving energy of like the divine is saying that to us too. Things are going to change. A cycle is coming to an end. Are you willing to be held accountable for your actions and listen to your intuition and invest in love and get more balance within yourself? Or are you going to continue to stay in denial of the truth? Because some people in the world are going to move to the next level of life, and other people are going to be looking at those people saying like, how is it they do that? How do they live their life like that? It's like parallel universes. You live right next door to them. You're in the same community, but their life seems so different from your life. Well, part of it is because they didn't let their fear and their insecurity and their pride and their ego and their codependent or immature, indulgent nature stop them from listening to their intuition. Our intuition was given to us as a gift to help us navigate through difficult times, to know when it's time to move. This needs to end. There is nothing new to be learned here. It is time to move to the next level. Can you imagine if ever since caveman days, nobody ever listened to their intuition? I have this feeling like I want to add my own unique spin to the way things are going on. I don't know. Maybe we could build a house in the trees instead of being in the cave. Maybe we could dig a thing and at an angle so our waste would flow out of the family area, I mean, if nobody ever listened to their intuition and, the Knight of Pentacles and the Pentacles, I look at that we could look at our own unique gifts, talents, and things that are unique to us that we can use to add to what is, because we're supposed to take what was, appreciate what was, take the good things of what was, and then we're supposed to add to it. And then we're supposed to build upon it. And some people refuse to do that. They're fearful of listening to their own intuition and stepping outside their comfort zone. But if we had done that as caveman people where nobody did that, we would be caveman people today. But look at all the things that human beings have created in the world that didn't magically poof into existence. People listen to their intuition. And then we have all the problems in the world where it's like, oh my gosh, that music's sinful. Oh my gosh, that artwork is terrible. Go with the flow. People are just trying to express themselves, and there's some people that are like, no, I refuse to do things any differently. I think the shadowy people are going to keep moving forward in their ego, and they're going to try to get in relationships with other people who are either willing to indulge them in their more immature way of being, or kind of they're more motivated by ego and image and status too. And that's who they want to move forward with. And I think the high vibe people want to move forward with people who are more creative and inspired. Some of the shadowy people would like the loving people that had been in their life to be the ones to move forward with them, because you're a loving, nurturing person. But if you're not willing to let them manipulate you, just like their ego and all their issues or whatever manipulate them, and all the people in their life who manipulate them and encourage them to keep living their life that way, you'd have to let all those people manipulate you too. And all those things that manipulate them, their fear, their insecurity, their self-centeredness, their emotional confusion, their inner conflict, their lack mentality. Some of those people are thinking, aren't you confused yet? Don't you feel left out in the cold? Look, I went and got in a relationship with someone else. Aren't you mad? Don't you want to come back and get in a relationship with me? For some of them, they'd rather be in the relationship with you than the people they're in a relationship with. But you could have ended the relationship with them in the past because you see they're kind of selfish. Like, you give, you maintain balance. You don't try to manipulate and control them in shadowy ways of being, but they do that to you. And they want you to settle for less than you deserve. And you're going to like, you know what? You can go with those people. Go manipulate that person. Go try to control that person. And eventually that person might realize that you juggle and wear a false mask, and those people will end the relationship with you too and call judgment on you because you don't want to see the truth. That you have this illusion that you can act this way in a relationship and think it should work out just fine. Well, other people want the real deal. They really want people who've done this work within themselves, who really will move forward with them in a loving, creative, inspired, authentic way. And some of you, you'll have some people who will move forward with you, who will stand up and defend moving forward with you because they see that you're in that authentic way. You're not lying. You're not manipulating. You're not... And they've dealt with people who are like that, just like you have. And they want to move forward with people who've healed, who are bold and brave in love, ready to move forward into unknown territory, listening to your intuition to guide you. And the other people are going to keep repeating the same old pattern over and over until they're willing to see the truth. And some people won't move forward with you. And I think you'll be like, you know what? Okay. Everybody is where they're at. If you're not ready to move forward, then you're not ready to move forward. And I guess, the thing is, we don't really know, right? There might be a window of opportunity, again, with the fives being a period of change, where there's a period of time, maybe where people, if they are willing to listen to their intuition and stand up for themselves and look at life from a higher perspective, they could heal and they could move forward. And then maybe that energy kind of collapses and people end up where they're at. It's like, did you get through the gate to go to the next level? Did you listen to your intuition? Or did you end up stuck and doing another round? And I don't know how long a cycle in life lasts, but I do know with the Scorpio death card, which talks about our deep emotional connections that we have with people, it does take time to emotionally detach from old ways of being and people. And if we're not willing to see the truth, we might move forward with something we think is victorious, and I just don't think it'll turn out the way we thought it would. And it's all to try to get us to see our truth. And maybe, since people have free will and everybody's, maybe you call it different timelines, people can create their own timelines. Basically, am I going to live in this reality or that reality? And we can kind of jump that reality of how we live life, just if we're willing to speak our truth and trust the divine and listen to our intuition. What's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Libra energy that they might not see coming? Okay, we had some cards flip in the middle here. The Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Queen of Wands, because of the Five of Cups and the Knight of Wands. Or no, the Nine of Wands. The high vibe people, in the Seven of Pentacles to the Eight of Pentacles, that's kind of changing our philosophy of life. This is Taurus energy, this is Virgo energy. If we offer a pentacle or a lesson learned to our underlying philosophy of life, that can get us from maybe focusing on the past and the relationships of the past that didn't work out to focusing on the future. We have free will. What are we going to invest our time, energy, thoughts, and emotions into? What didn't work or what could work? The past or the future? And I think it's about taking the lessons you've learned from the relationships that didn't work out, where we need to have good boundaries, where we need to learn to have good boundaries within our own shadow nature, and where we need to have good boundaries to other people, that if we're in a relationship with people who cause us regret, we have to stand up for ourselves. We don't deserve to be in relationships with people who aren't willing to work with us cooperatively in love. And then we take that lesson to look to the future and start going with the flow, with the Wheel of Fortune, that if people aren't willing to work with us cooperatively, if people aren't working together with us now in a relationship, well, then the divine has another plan for your life. Our life and our dreams aren't codependent on certain people. We're looking for people who harness these energies in this positive way. And if the people we were already working with didn't choose to harness, truth and justice and fairness and love and putting in work and effort to gain insight and wisdom about themselves and have good boundaries, then they're not the person for us. And we listen to our intuition. And I think what you might not see coming is that some people who you might have thought would move forward with you might be defensive to that. Because it does take work and effort. You do have to work through those past pain and heartbreaks, those self-limiting beliefs, to let them go. And sometimes they have people in their life they would have to let go of and kind of distance themselves from. And some of those people aren't willing to do it. So I think you'll see some people who are defensive to moving forward with you. And I think you're going to find other people who are going to decide to invest in you and move forward with you. Because they've realized that they keep living their life the way they have. If we can be aligned with truth and love and justice and fairness, but if the people aren't, it keeps us in that same energy. And again, it's about being a leader. Sometimes, instead of indulging people in their poor behavior, is to show them how it's done. Because we have to be aware that sometimes when people are in shadowy energy, they're hoping we won't love and believe in ourselves. And it is a manipulation tactic. And they're not willing to do this work to detach from the things they need to detach from. And it's like, I'm not going to stay defensive and sad that some people I'm afraid will turn their back on me if I live my authentic life. That's their free will choice, and I am willing to detach from them. And if you're part of them, then I'm going to detach from you and I'm going to show you how it's done. Yes, I love you. Yes, I wish you would move forward with me. Just like you wish some of those people would move forward with you. But I'm not going to stop my dreams from coming into reality because some other people haven't dealt with their own fears and insecurities or ego or whatever. Whatever controls them, controls them. I'm not going to be controlled by it. I'm choosing to align with life-giving energy and hope and faith and belief and healing. And maybe if I show people how I do it, maybe some other people will believe they could do it too. And kind of it gets down to the last people who it's like, they're there by themselves because nobody else is still there. It's kind of like, again, we kind of talked about the age groups and growing up. You know, people change, people grow and mature over time. And it's like some people get out to be a certain age group and then they're like, oh, we should never do anything different. Oh, we should never face any of our fears or insecurities. Let's keep living life just like this. They're kind of like someone who you could metaphorically says, no, all those other people are doing that, but we're like, we love being 15. Let's keep staying like a 15-year-old. Well, eventually everybody else has moved on. They became 18, 21, 25, 30, 35. And those people are that age too, but they're still acting like 15-year-olds in a way. It's like, you know what? If you want to keep not facing your fears and insecurities and dealing with your past pain and heartbreak, and you want to keep living your life that way, you can. It just probably gets harder and harder to find people who are willing to indulge you living your life like that. Okay, let's get a different deck. What's coming up for the people who harness a little more worldly focused or immature or shadowy Libra energy? Well, I think we already know from what we saw here, they're going to keep being defensive, letting their ego run their life, letting their more immature, maybe self-centered, egotistical nature run their life. And they're going to keep presenting themselves in their false mask and juggling. And I think they're going to have some cycles close on them and they're going to feel stuck. And if they move forward with someone thinking, I did it, I made it to the next level, it's like, no, you really didn't, because you're the same person that you were. You think you're going to the next level and you're going to try to create the illusion like, oh no, I moved on too. It's like, no, because you're the exact same person. All the things that bothered you or encumbered you or limited you or restricted you or had you emotionally confused and in a mental prison before, they're still all there. So you can try to make it seem like you're on the next level of life, but you're doing the same old level of the video game of like Mario Kart all over again. So what do they not see coming? Well, I think for one, I think the Queen of Wands is holding an Ace of Wands. The people who loved and believed in themselves have become emotionally independent of them. Just like they became emotionally independent of their more shadowy nature and learned to love themselves and fill their own cup emotionally and invest in being inspired to love themselves versus not love themselves. And when they learn to do that within themselves, they distance themselves from people in the world who are more motivated and inspired to indulge themselves in their ego and their fear and their self-centeredness and their not wanting to open up and not wanting to deal with their issues. And I think they're going to have people that are willing to be in a relationship with them to indulge. Some people in their life are really happy they didn't choose to love and believe in themselves. Perfect. Come indulge me in my ego. I'm glad you held back from those people. I'm glad you left those people out in the cold. I'm glad you didn't pursue that job or move to that town or go get that education. I'm glad you're going to stay here and indulge me in my ego. I'm glad you're going to be in a relationship with me because I wanted to be in a relationship with you for the money and the status and the image. It's just that what they don't see is that some of the people, they either could get in a relationship where the same cycle happens over again. Someone who has hope and faith and belief and love. It's like, shit, how'd that happen? I do not want to be in a relationship with someone like that. And the same thing's going to happen. But they might indulge in it for a while. And then eventually they'll move away because those people wanted them to grow up and mature themselves again and bring the dream into reality. And they're like, no, I'm kind of more motivated and inspired to indulge myself in my fear, in my ego, whatever. Sorry, you saw the truth. Now I'm going to go find someone else to go indulge myself in. Or they'll have someone come in their life who also likes to indulge in pride and ego and is going to tempt them to get in a relationship with them because I want those things that you have. And I might be immature, and I might be defensive, and I might be self-centered, and I might be emotionally manipulative. And they basically manifested into reality the very thing they align with within themselves. And our shadow nature is represented by the devil. So they might have someone that's more than happy to be in a relationship with them. So long, shadowy Queen of Wands is someone who is manipulative and controlling emotionally. Oh, you're not going anywhere. Oh, I want you, and I want the things you got. You're not going anywhere. And then this person might have a lot of inner conflict and feel left out in the cold and emotionally confused because the person they thought was going to be like loving and nurturing like some of the other people they'd found in their life. It's like, yeah, but you weren't willing to grow and mature yourself with those people. So I guess God decided to give you a harder lesson. And then the thing with the devil is it can be really hard to break away from it because some people already held back from telling the truth, and they could have been in their ego and thinking they could get people to do what they wanted, and people didn't do what they wanted, and people moved on, and now they're in their ego, and they might feel left out in the cold and confused that other people loved and believed in themselves, and instead of doing the work to see the truth, they're going to keep taking action in pride and ego. And it's probably not going to end up the way they thought it was going to end up. They might look like they got everything that anybody could want in the world, but they might be dealing with some people that are kind of immature like they are. And then it's like a just and fair and balanced relationship. And it's just like, is this what you want to settle for? This is what you thought other people should settle for. Before, when you had loving, nurturing people in your life, it was great. But now that you're in a relationship with someone like yourself, what do you think? And then they have the opportunity to get out of it. I see the truth. Being selfish and greedy and not dealing with my inner conflict didn't get me what I want. If I want to get out of this, I need to look at life from a higher perspective and stand up for myself and stand up against my more immature, indulgent nature that thought I could get everything I wanted, indulging myself, not having good boundaries within myself, and it didn't work out. And I think some of you other people are going to move forward with people in the world and protecting your future from people who've already shown you they're in shadowy energy. To go invest in the people who are kind of on the same page as you. So there you go, Libra energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.